What stopped you from committing suicide? Garlic bread is pretty cool, so yeah. There was a point I was at my lowest. Weeks I didn't get off the couch, my bed during the separation leading to a divorce eventually, still living together up until the divorce. I slept and slept and slept. Had no energy. Didn't go to work. Didn't eat. When I wasn't asleep, I felt so terrible and drained, and I never felt this bad before. That nothing mattered. No motivation. Nothing. I was by myself in the house at night, watching YouTube. There was an extension cable on the floor. I picked it up and said to myself that I could do it right now. Right now, and it would all be over. All the pain gone. Then a channel I follow on YouTube, Mars, while I was about to hang myself, a new video she posted started playing. She apparently lost a good friend to suicide, and she was crying and explained that if someone is feeling like this, there is always someone who wants to help. Your loved ones would be heavily affected if you killed yourself. So I broke down crying and called my friend and asked him to come over. I need help. Talking with my dad. The time spent with him talking over how deep the hole my psyche was in. One distraction after another. Sometimes, it's not about having something to live for. Sometimes, it's more about why you can't die right now. I basically used this as a survival strategy until I could work some things out and make some actual coping strategies. To anyone else who is in a similar situation, it does get better, but you have to squirm if you want to pass through the eye of the needle. It's hard, but it's worth it, because so are you. I don't trust a single person to love or look after my kids. Security deposit. I was extremely suicidal and got very close to ending it, cord wrapped around my neck. When I was looking for my anchor point, I realized just how cheap of a house I was renting. Nothing seemed sturdy enough to hold enough of my weight to do the job. I was worried that if I actually attempted and broke something in the process, that I'd end up just hurt and owing more money than was worth the attempt. Being a broke ass kept me alive a bit longer. Vomited, then rushed to the ambulance after my parents noticed the empty pill packets. Nearly completely destroyed my liver and kidneys. As far as I know, 113 pills, 87 aspirin and like 33 cocodamol. It is a surprise I lived. Second time, not a proper one. Had a manic episode, and started running in front of cars. Got told to man up by the hospital exit therapist while I was dosed on Valium and had drunk about 500 milliliters Jim Beam at my lowest body weight ever. Third time. Slashed wrists while having another manic episode. Called a hotline so I could chat as I bled out and automatically told them where I lived because halfway through I thought it was a GP. Acid is one hell of a drug. Turns out I probably have undiagnosed bipolar and that shit was gonna get worse. Luckily, I had a completely different health problem, epilepsy, and got medicated, which was coincidentally the same meds which control bipolar, and holy shit, I felt like a new person since I started taking them near as damn it a year and a half ago. So, medication and an incredibly supportive family and friendship group, I'd say. I'd like therapy but can't afford it. This is a bit of a doozy, pretty embarrassing, but all true. When I was like 7 years old, I watched the first episode of Red vs. Blue by Rooster Teeth. For the uninitiated, the episode starts with a very long-winded joke about a character misunderstanding the question, "Why are we here?" And that character proceeds to rant about philosophical nonsense for a bit. Now, for most people, it's a very harmless joke about some surface-level existential dread. However, 7-year-old me had a fucking crisis of existence. I tried to take a neon green jump rope and hang myself from the underside of my loft bed. With tears streaming down my face, I was fruitlessly trying to figure out how to tie a jump rope into a noose, then hang myself in a space where I could still stand up. Obviously, I failed, and since it was late at night I just decided to sleep it off. In the end, not having the knowledge of how to, and not having access to a place to hang myself was what stopped me. I guess being tired also had something to do with it. I made another attempt much later in life, but it's not nearly as interesting or funny. Nothing. I tried 4 times, different things. Stayed at the hospital several times too. But, as you can see, life is a real bitch who wants me here. And with time passing and therapy, I still want to die quite often, but I don't even have the courage/strength anymore. Plus I have 2 kitties now that I love more than anything, and I don't know anyone who could take care of them as I do. The plain thought leaving my family and friends alone in this shit place, they wouldn't do it to me also. My parents. I am their only son, they are old, weak and dependent, so I need to be strong for them. P.S. I do have a hefty amount of caffeine to overdose myself once I find out that things are getting beyond my control and I have to think of myself now. I had a dream in which I was given only 4 hours left of life and I didn't get to tie all the loose ends I left. Only then did I realize that I was terrified of death. For years suicide idealizations were the only thing keeping me going, but I've been working on getting better since that dream around 5 months ago. I knew my family would be hurt and would never come back from it. I started shifts as a temp just to get enough money to buy a gun to put in my mouth. One of the managers took an interest and acted like I had something to contribute and encouraged me to become an employee. It was enough. Thought a little too hard about what would happen after. I have a boyfriend who loves me like the world, and my mother is already struggling with her own things. Ending my own life would probably be the finishing move on both of them. My boyfriend isn't in the best place either. I feel like I'm the only thing keeping them afloat sometimes. It's a fragile branch to sit on, but it's comfortable enough for me. Even if it breaks, I'll try to find another one. My sister came home early, the one person I wasn't okay with finding me. I'm a coward. It's 1 AM and I am on this thread reading these reasons, and I just want y'all to know, like, thank you for your testimony. I've cried, I'm laughed, and I just feel so much relief to know that I'm not alone. Failed attempt, then lots of therapy and a year or so on meds until I got things under control. I love life too much. I didn't want to end up on the news, or ruin the cliff's view for other people that knew someone had jumped there. Fear that I would fail, fear that success would hurt more, and a small part of me always believing that whatever shit was hurting me enough to consider self-expiration would eventually pass. It did indeed pass, every time. As much as I hate to say it, my sister's dog, and not my own, Ups. He has massive behavioral issues, and in a way, it comforts me knowing that he struggles in silence, just like I do most of the time. Knowing my sister was leaving for college soon, I felt that I couldn't leave this little guy behind. He needed me, and I needed him so much more. Lucky, you saved my life. The police at gunpoint with a full SWAT team. Medication. The thought that it would break my mother and I couldn't do that to her. My baby brother, 3, walked into the bathroom as I was about to try to odd. He said he wanted me to cuddle with him. I haven't tried since and admitted myself into a hospital the next time I could. Got back on my feet, I'm good now. He saved my life. I wanted to see Avengers Endgame. This might sound dumb and childish, but I had nothing else to make it worth it at the time, so I gave myself the goal of not leaving this planet without having seen this movie. It was my primary motivation for a year. I started going to church, I found God. To be honest, I haven't felt depressed or suicidal since. Started panicking while I was bleeding and decided I wasn't ready. I was ready to end it all, so I stepped on that ledge. I was at peace with myself. Then just as I was about to take flight, a thought crossed my mind. You know, I can always jump tomorrow, thoughtful face, sure, I'm ready to end it all, but perhaps I should grab a decent bite to eat. How about that fancy restaurant I saw in the movies? It'd be my last meal. I was always afraid to splurge, but if I'd be gone by tomorrow anyway, what's another few bucks on my credit card? Debt won't follow me to the grave. So I had the most ridiculous and pretentious dinner of my life, came home, and slept through the night. The next evening came and I stood up on that ledge again. Another thought had come. Well, I've never been to a sandy beach before, umbrella. Sure, I'm ready to end it, but it'd be a damn shame to go without at least knowing what an ocean breeze actually feels like. May, what's another few days for a trip? The ledge will still be here when I get back. So I took a humble road trip, SUV, and came back home. Stepped up on that ledge another time, and another thought. That barista coffee at the Highway Cafe was kinda cute. I wonder if I should stop by just one last time and say hello? If I get rejected, oh well, my ledge would still be here. Then again, I wonder what working at a cafe is like? Should I just apply and work there for a week? Who knows? It might even help me get to know that barista a little better. So while standing on top of that ledge, I started listing out the things I would like to do before I actually take the final plunge. 1. Say hi to that barista. 2. Work at a cafe. 3. Volunteer picking up trash at the beach. 4. Study marine biology. After a while, the list started getting longer than I could keep in my head, so I stepped down for a bit to jot them down. Some of the things on my list were rather trivial, like go see/eat/touch/experience this and or that. While some of the items were bigger/longer projects with smaller prerequisites to fulfill along the way, like learning how to swim, so that I can be a deep-sea diver, so that I can research ocean pollution, so that and so forth. It's been 17 years since I first wrote that list. Over the years, I knocked down several items from that list while also adding a ton more to that list. Apparently, the more I experience in life, the more I find things that seem interesting enough for me to want to experience. Don't get me wrong, I'm still committed to ending my life. I'll definitely jump from that ledge one day, but just not today, and probably not any time too soon. I still have a SHT ton of stuff I need to finish before I get to my final task. Spite.